solution. Superior's team provides first-class care with great communication, friendly installers, and quality fence products. There's a reason why Superior is the top-rated fence company in Jacksonville. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your new fence today.
When you're on the fence about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
Find the middle of the fairway with your drives. Get the golf tips and talk to keep you straight.
That's a great tee shot.
On the Edwin Watts Golf Hour.
The Edwin Watts Golf Hour.
Saturday morning at 10 on 1010XL.
Colorectal cancer is the third most common cancer in men and women. March is Colorectal Awareness Month, and if you're over age 45, get screened for any signs and symptoms. Visit Ackerman Cancer Center, where their experts can see you same or next day at ackermancancercenter.com.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Andrew Gibson for 1010XL. A former Jaguar says he was disrespected by the Jags in free agency.
With Jacksonville, it was a shock to me. I ain't gonna lie. After the year, I thought I was gonna be a Jacksonville Jaguar. But I felt disrespected because I came over there, built up the culture, brought a whole lot of energy, changed the city, changed the town, and I felt like I was in my rightful mind. I was gonna be a Jacksonville Jaguar, but that didn't happen. I still love the players, love the teammates, love the city, love the fans, but yeah, we gotta see them twice.
That was Arden Key today with reporters in Nashville. 60 degrees at 6:01 time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Week of March, one of the great months during the calendar year as far as sports continues. And man, this weekend was flat out fantastic. The NCAA college basketball tournament. I don't know what to make of it. I do not. It's different from college football. There's so many reasons why. Top programs go down. I'm going to spend some time on that momentarily. The National Hockey League has been freaking awesome. All right. You add to that the PGA Tour, of course, everything else that is ongoing, and the free agency period in the NFL. Still some quality players out there for the taking. Every day that goes by, you get the feeling that the price tag does come down a little bit. Of course, Thursday will be only 5 weeks out from the NFL draft and 35 days away. That in itself, to me, is just incredible how quickly things have transpired. Again, we're 5+ weeks away. I have a guest coming up in 40 minutes, Chad Forbes, who will draw the ire of NFL fans, including Jaguar fans. But that's okay. I like his material. I like the fact that he is outspoken. So, again, he's going to come up in 40 minutes, and we'll spend some time talking about him. I keep hearing a cliche that, I think it fits at times, but not necessarily here with the Jaguars. It sounds a little bit like this. We're getting the band back together, okay? Well, this isn't like the Eagles that had, the 10, 12, 15-year hiatus. This isn't like Fleetwood Mac, who broke up. When you bring back the likes of Trey Herndon and Adam Gotsis and Dewey and C.J. Beathard and Riley Patterson and Jermichael Hasty and Tavon Campbell, they never left. So how did the band break up? I don't get that. The band breaking up would be the return of Calais Campbell, the return of Miles Jack, the return of Jalen Ramsey, who, as we know, is way down the state in Miami. It would be the return of DJ Chark. That's bringing the band back together, not the re-signing of Jermichael Hasty. So I'm a little surprised by that. On the flip side, the message has clearly been sent, okay? This football team right now, they believe, and when I say they, I say Trent Baalke and his front office and Doug Peterson and his staff, that they are piecing together the right people for this particular franchise to make a run. However, outside of Calvin Ridley, they really haven't done a lot. Now, let me preface this by saying, you can do whatever you want with Pro Football Focus. I still can't figure it out, okay? I just don't know how they come up with what they come up with. But again, that's today's math. And we saw it with sabermetrics in baseball, and we saw it with Billy Ball in baseball. Now we're seeing, more statistics take over that particular game. Nothing more important than the WAR. You just had the PGA Tour roll through here. They were down the road this past week. And, it used to be you look at simple statistics, right? You would look at how you measured compared to par. The last time I checked, every single golf course that these players play and that we play recreationally is a golf course that sits at par. Are you going to shoot under par? Or are you going to shoot over par? But it used to be fairways hit, driving distance, greens and regulation, and how many putts per round. Now it's putts gained per round. Putts, scrambling shots picked up per round. And it's just new numbers. Well, we're getting these numbers in football, and I honestly don't know what they mean. However, Pro Football Focus told us this. They rated their top 101 players. This great Jaguars team had 2 players in the top 101. Okay? Trevor Lawrence and Tyson Campbell. So, what does that mean when you're not adding players from the outside? I'll tell you exactly what it means. It's about developing your own. It's about improving your own. One of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of defense early in this draft and why I'm going to hammer the offensive line and really anything that you do offensively, my thinking on this is simply it's about improving those defensive players. Trayvon Walker has to play better. Chad Muma has to play better. Devin Lloyd must play better. Okay? Devin Lloyd took advantage of all 5 years at Utah. We don't see a lot of that anymore for guys who move on to the NFL. Luke Fortner is actually going to be 25 in May. Fortner is one of the few guys who took advantage of that COVID rule where he redshirted as a true freshman. He stayed at Kentucky for 6 years. Okay? A lot of these kids that stay for that long, they're enjoying the college experience, but many of them don't move on to the NFL. Jacksonville had 2. And you can have 2 25-year-old second-year players. So, their maturity level is up. You would think they're a little bit more advanced than a 20 or 21-year-old rookie. I mean, look at Trevor Lawrence. He's beginning his 3rd year. He's 23. Trevor Lawrence is not going to turn 24 until the mid part of October. So he's going to play half the schedule, maybe more, at the tender age of 23. It's pretty fascinating. But that's really what has to transpire here. Jacksonville, if they're going to take that next step, you've got to have 6 or 7 or 8 players in the top 101. And the reason why I highlighted Pro Football Focus, even though I still don't understand it, is everyone has a list. And we see the lists come out during the offseason. They really heat up, during the dog days of June, I guess you will, July, right before training camp starts. It seems like every entity out there is going to provide a list. I'm not a big fan of lists. I go to them every once in a while, but I'll just tell you, even though the author involved or the journalist involved who forms a list spends an incredible amount of time on it, I still think there's some laziness involved. Instead of really trying to create a good topic and really trying to go after a nice story, let's create a list. You know, who was it? Chris Jericho. If you were on Chris Jericho's list, you'd be in a lot of trouble. Yeah, that was back a few years ago. Who did he have the run-in with? Who was a big guy? You a wrestling fan at all? JJ LaSalva?
No.
What was that? I can't think of his name. Was it Andrews or someone will let us know in the text line. Brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures, 641-1010. It was one of the great segments of all time, that you're on my list. It was Kevin Owens.
Our intern,
you know your wrestling
knowledge.
Our intern not only knows wrestling, he knows 16 parlays.
Absolutely.
Is there any truth to the rumor that he's having pizza and beer delivered to this now that everyone's gone? It's party time.
Our unpaid intern gets paid more than me, apparently.
Now that Hacker's gone, I mean, we can just invite some ladies. We can party here all night long.
Yes. Don't come in here bragging about winning $2,500 over the weekend without food or beverage or just something to celebrate.
But the reason why I chose the Pro Football Focus Top 101 is everyone else who does their Top 100, it's subjective, right? It's your opinion. I've never done one before. But if I was to create a Top 100 list or a Top 101, it would be my opinion. And, I mean, I give credit to, Prisco does one. So many people do it. You really have to know the league. I mean, good luck trying to figure out who the top guard is in the NFL and where the second and third and fourth and fifth best guard are in the NFL. I mean, certainly I can do a list like this and, in my opinion, give you who I think the top quarterbacks are, who the top running backs are, who the top wide receivers are, who the top pass rushers are, how the top running backs are. I mean, on paper, Miles Jack had over 100 tackles this past year in Pittsburgh. You'd think, all right, he played well enough. He lived up to his contract. If you did not hear, he was cut late last week, just simply sent down the road. So, that's another example within this that is pretty difficult to decipher. That's why Pro Football Focus, again, they do it on their measurements, on their scale, with how they rank these players, whether you agree and or disagree. And it's not a perfect science. That the point is only 2 players. Okay? Jacksonville wants to take that next step, man. Trayvon Walker, you got to get on that list. Brandon Sheriff, you got to get on that list. Josh Allen, you got to get on that list. Calvin Ridley, hop on that list. Evan Engram, join the list, right? You're spending all this money on Cam Robinson. Hey, Cam, feel free to join the list. And that's what Jacksonville has to do next. They have to get better within their own. And I think they have the right staff for it. Okay? I think they have the right front office for it. I'm not saying that I don't think it can't happen, but to me, that's more important than going out and overspending for a guy who may be your nickel corner or a guy who may be in your rotation on the defensive line. Anyway, we'll spend some time on that coming up here in just a little bit. We're also going to talk about Arden Key a little bit. We'll play that soundbite for you. Gibby just played it at the top of the hour, so we won't do it right now. But I got to say this about Arden Key. To me, he is the consummate, I'm with you now, and everyone else is against us. You know who those people are? They're few and far between. And you may run into them every day in the business world. You may own a firm. You may own an insurance company. And you are able to bring in an agent and a guy who's going to sell insurance from you. And he may have spent 10, 12 years at one of your competitors. But when you get that guy or you get that girl, that they're part of your company now. And they're going to do everything. They're not just coming over for the paycheck. They're coming over because they're going to help fight for you and build your brand. Whether you want to admit it or not, That's Arden Key. Arden Key went out and talked about hatred last year to Tennessee. Okay? The same team he just signed with. He was so in with Duval. He was so a part of this organization and what needed to be done and snapping that streak in Nashville. I remember talking to you about it, JJ. I'm like, the guy's been here for like 12 weeks. And look, he's saying that he hates going to Tennessee. He hates everything about Tennessee. I love the dog in him. So just because now he's gone to the other side, in my opinion, Jaguar fans should not forget what he did and what he said.
And you also shouldn't act like you didn't want to bring him back. I mean, I understand that he only had 4.5 sacks, but he changed a lot of how the defense looked in the second half of the year specifically. Like, I guarantee if the Jags would have re-signed him, everyone would have been loving that.
Mm-hmm.
But now all of a sudden it's like, oh, whatever. Dude had 4.5 sacks. Go climb a tree or something like that. Who cares about you?
He changed everything. Arden, I want to thank you for getting me a contract extension.
Yes.
Here at 1010XL
city.
in 92.5 FM. I know you just said our intern makes more money than you, but I heard a whisper that you had something that was guaranteed. And before you answer that, I think you should thank Arden Key. He was responsible for you getting that movement as well. I mean, he helped the culture. He changed the city. He changed the organization. He changed the team. He changed you as fans. It was all Arden Key.
I noticed pollution around town was a lot worse before Arden Key.
All right, we'll come back. We'll get into that a little bit. How's your bracket?
I have 3 out of 4 Final Four teams remaining, but besides that, it's very bad.
Kansas, my goodness. They blew that lead on Saturday to Arkansas. What were they up, a dozen? Yeah, I had Kansas winning it all against Kansas State. So, the good news for me is that I have 10 of 16 remaining. The bad news for me is that I only have 2 teams left who can make the Final Four, and that would be Houston against Kansas State. The problem is I had Kansas State playing Kansas for the national championship, and I had Kansas winning it. This is the 6th consecutive year that the winner of the national championship did not make it into the Sweet 16 the year after. I mean, to repeat is very hard to do. Georgia's done it in football, right? Consecutive years. Look at the Los Angeles Rams. They won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. They didn't even make the playoffs, okay? We'll see what happens in the NBA. We'll see if Colorado can repeat in the National Hockey League. What about Major League Baseball? Who won it? It was Houston, right? Who won it?
Hasn't been back-to-back since the Yankees, three-peat.
Wow.
Late 90s.
And
early 2000s.
Altuve's now out for at least a couple of months. Been a lot of injuries at the World Baseball Classic. Altuve's going to miss probably April and May. Took a pitch to his thumb over the weekend, and again, he's going to be out for quite some time. All right, opening comments tonight and each and every night are brought to you by the good folks over at Shmunez Vision. Hey, listen, it's mid-March. We're heading towards April. I really care about eyes, and I've had a lot of problems with my eyes, either from stupidity, like falling asleep, in my contacts, or doing other things such as needing surgery over 8 years ago. I've always trusted the good folks at Shmunez Vision, and I was actually asked about them as I was having a couple of cocktails over the weekend. My buddy's like, my eyes suck. I can't see. I'm like, bro, I talk about it all the time. I'm not doing this for the sake of doing it. Set up an appointment today and give them a call. 299-2906 or visit shmunezvision.com. You only have one set of eyes. Now, the things that they do are unparalleled, all right? You have cataract surgery. You have refractive surgery. When I mention cataracts, people north of 50, just about all have them. And they feel, okay, I'm going to need surgery. That may not be the case. They may have the remedy for you. Laser eye surgery. Imagine going through the rest of your days never needing contacts, readers, glasses again. It's only part of what they do, and they are outstanding. They are truly a family business right out at the beach. Give them a call today. Their number is 299-2906, or go to shmunezvision.com. Care you can see. All right, are we on YouTube tonight?
We are on YouTube. After our last couple shows on location, we're back in studio. Go to 1010XL's YouTube page, give us a click, share us with your friends, and check out what Rick is wearing today.
I got a Bushwood T-shirt on. Now, you're old enough to know where this comes from.
Yes, I've seen the film.
Yes.
Caddyshack.
I think it's the greatest comedy of all time.
I have not seen Caddyshack 2, which I heard is the worst comedy of all time.
It is absolutely brutal.
I almost want to see it just because.
It is absolutely brutal. All right, hey, on the text line, 641-1010, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. I'm always open to some new stuff, so maybe I'll get a suggestion for you amongst everything that we're going to talk about tonight. Give me the best comedy of all time. For me, there's no question. It's Caddyshack. Number 2 would be Animal House, but maybe you'll give me one that I can look for tonight or tomorrow night or any one of these nights. So anyway, 641-1010 on the text line. Again, that is brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. All right, coming up next, let's give you our daily draft update. It's brought to you by the good folks over at Patriot Roofing Services.
He's the life of the party.
Let's all get down, get funky.
Joe C.
I do voices.
Join the radio party.
Play that funky music, white boy.
Noon to 3.
Let's play this backwards and see if it gets any better.
On 1010XL.
That'd be nice to take a business, no crabs.
Why does everyone seem to hesitate to buy a used car these days? Probably because the warranties stink. Well, we only offer the best cars that can pass our 160-point inspection and qualify for the Beaver Certified program with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. You mean just Chevys and Toyotas, right? Nope, all of them. Nissans? Yep. Fords? That's right. Hondas? You bet. What about all of them? And if you want to see all of them, come see us at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville.
Hi, Rick Ballou here, checking in with words of wisdom to be applied in life and your business from the business attorneys at Jimerson Burr. The late Tom Petty once said, and I do quote, "Oh my, oh hell yes, honey put on that party dress." End of quote. Thank you to Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I have breaking news. It has rolled in again today at my desk here at 1010XL and 92.5 FM. They are hiring at Jimerson Burr. This is a growing law firm. It's your one-stop for all business lawyers, okay? Paralegal as well. Just go to jimersonfirm.com and go to the careers page. They've been considered one of the best places to work over the last decade. They're constantly recognized for that. Plus, top-of-the-market compensation. Go to jimersonfirm.com. Look for the careers page.
Coming through in the clutch. David Garrard for Clearwater Seamless Gutters. You all know Clearwater installed my sprinklers, but recently John Haney's Clearwater Gutter Division installed beautiful 6-inch seamless gutters for my home in Jacks Beach, and they work great.
Dave, that's awesome to hear. Now jump in. We're fixing to sing. Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial. We're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-one-fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Active and pain-free. That's the ticket. Dr. George Barry here, and I know that's the goal of every patient I see. They want the best possible care so they can go back to enjoying life. That could be pick up basketball, golf, tennis, running, or just working out. It all requires you to be as healthy as you can be. If joint pain is taking its toll on your active lifestyle, come see me at Barry Orthopedics. We have locations all over Jacksonville and can diagnose and treat even the most severe joint pain. A homegrown Jacksonville practice. Find out more at barryorthopedics.com.
At Harrell & Harrell, there is no cost to hire us. In fact, the only way we are paid is when you receive the compensation you deserve. That's our commitment to you. Call Harrell & Harrell, 251-1111. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
The month of madness.
3 seconds. 2 seconds.
Listen for March moments all month long on 1010XL.
And it's over!
Brought to you by Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services.
Pulls off the upset!
On 1010XL.
Best Bet is paying out over $640,000 this month in poker promotions. There will be exciting high hand specials and no-limit hold'em tournaments all month. Catch $300 early bird specials at Orange Park and $500 Fridays at Jacksonville. And don't miss the $1,500 high hands at all locations on March 18th. Enjoy the best in poker and card games at Best Bet. For more information, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
If your lawn is not as green as you'd like, it's time to go orange by calling Orange Environmental Services, Jacksonville's highest quality pest control for over 45 years. Frank Frangie here. I've trusted Orange Environmental to take care of our home's pest control needs for years. With the Orange Shield Protection Plan for your home or office, you can relax knowing Orange Environmental will handle pest control, termite control, and mosquito control. Orange Environmental has been giving Northeast Florida peace of mind from bug problems since 1972. Call them today at 272-3284.
Did you know that many cooling companies are now part of big conglomerates with no connection to Northeast Florida? In the past, they have concentrated on heating and air conditioning, but after a buyout, many add plumbing and electrical services. This raises their overhead, and those costs are passed on to the consumer. It's a case where bigger isn't better, it's just more expensive. Not Mike Merritt's Heating and Air. Mike Merritt remains family-owned and operated. Merritt's focus has been the same for more than 30 years, keeping Northeast Florida comfortable, no matter what the weather. And there are no overtime or weekend surcharges. Mike Merritt's team does not work on commission. They repair only what needs repair and offer replacements only on what can't be fixed. And unlike at giant corporations where you can feel like just another number, with Mike Merritt, you'll feel like number one. Florida license CACO 50384.
When your vehicle needs an oil change, but you really haven't got the time, visit the newest Famous Quick Lube location in Jacks Beach near Penman. It's the same fast, affordable service at your convenience. That's Famous Quick Lube.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, good to have you with us alongside the incomparable JJ LaSalva and our unnamed intern who hit a 16 parlay. Did you get pepperoni and sausage on there, or is it mushrooms, black Oz? Did you find out?
He actually said this weekend he went to a bar where they did like a food challenge. Spent $25. It was like multiple patties. It's like 25 different things on a burger, and he did it. Congratulations. He won a bucket hat.
He's a big guy. He's like an offensive lineman. I didn't know he was old enough to go to a bar. Did he use a fake ID?
I don't know if he drank. So, yeah, he said he had a couple beers.
Okay. Good enough. Getting a ton in on comedies. I thought I would. I'm going with the Bushwood. Some people just don't belong. The greatest Judge Smales, right? Played by Ted Knight. Smales the third. Dr. Beeperman, Bishop Pickering to the first hole. I love golf movies. When you look at sports movies, I look at it as a comedy, not necessarily a sports movie. When you look at sports movies, the best movies are golf movies and boxing movies.
Oh, yeah.
Then I'd throw in some baseball.
Golf. So we got Legend of Bagger Vance. We have Tin Cup. We have Happy Gilmore.
Yeah. It's good enough for me.
Okay.
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack, yeah.
Uh-huh. Patriot Roofing Services. Each and every day they give us an NFL draft update. They specialize in all types of commercial and residential roofing and repairs. Their number is 982-4052. They're licensed and insured And again, you mentioned this ad, you get $500 off any new re-roof. Let's get right after it. The Jaguars reports came out over the weekend. They met with defensive tackle Mazi Smith out of Michigan. And, I didn't know a great deal about this man. I've seen that in most mock drafts. He is basically a second-round pick, a day 2 pick, which will happen on Friday. I'm sure there's, a scenario where he could go in the 3rd round. But a well-accomplished player who does a lot of really good things. And I was reading some scouting reports, possesses the rare combination of size and athleticism. He's bendy and stout in his lower half, which is something that is incredibly important. I thought of Devon Hamilton about this immediately because one of the big issues with Devon Hamilton when he's not playing well is they say that he leaves his feet too quickly, that he lunges. And I thought Hamilton really came on and ended up having a pretty good season. And, of course, they invested money and brought back as well Roy Robertson Harris. Big Foley has arguably, right next to Shaq Griffin, probably been the biggest bust over the last 2 years that Trent Baalke has added as far as free agency, where look at everything he did a year ago, hit for the most part, outside of Big Foley. And, of course, the 3 he brought in defensively 2 years ago, there was a lot of talk that they all failed in year 1. Of course, we saw Rayshawn Jenkins have his best season of his career in 2022. And, again, Roy Robertson Harris certainly did have a much improved second half of the season. He's able to slide, swim, and seize the gap, which is always important. Foot quickness to be a part of a twisting rush unit. So he's considered a space eater. He's considered a guy who's fleet of foot. He's considered an intelligent player. And he's considered a guy who, if not, will be a starter immediately, certainly has the makings of being a contributor and a guy who will end up taking over as a starter on this defensive unit. His weaknesses, hasn't made many plays behind the line of scrimmage. All right, who really does as a defensive tackle when you're not named, Aaron Donald or someone of that ilk? You may get a few a year, right? His motor runs out of gas when tempo heats up. Okay. Well, if he had trouble with conditioning at Michigan, how in the hell is he going to handle conditioning here in North Florida? To me, that is a major red flag. As a matter of fact, the only bigger flag for me outside of that, when we're talking about on the field, not off the field, is the so-called, and I quote, his motor isn't always running. I don't care if you shovel dirt. I don't care if you answer the phone. I don't care what it is that you do. If you are considered in your business world as a guy or a gal who doesn't give 110%, you're going to go from job to job to job to job. You're going to get fired. You're going to get let go. You're going to get replaced. I mean, you can't question effort for any of these prospects. And that's not the case for him, okay? But this is the second biggest issue, in my opinion, if you're not in shape. Look at all the conversations we had last week on Carter out of Georgia. Jalen Carter couldn't finish his pro day workout because of cramping. Well, cramping in a lot of ways is what? Lack of water, lack of hydration, but it also seems to happen to guys who are not in great shape. He struggled against Iowa's zone scheme attack. I think with great coaching, Brenston Buckner here in Jacksonville, whatever, that's something you can learn. I wouldn't be overly concerned about that. And unlikely to see many passing downs as a pro. Okay, he's not a guy that you're going to ask to sick the quarterback. So if they end up selecting Mazi Smith, don't plan on him being a Warren Sapp. Don't plan on him being an Aaron Donald. You're not a Williams out of with the New York Jets. It's just not going to happen. Okay, it's not. Or Quinnen Williams, right, out of with the New York Jets. So anyway, some pretty good marks there. A couple of other things that do involve the Jaguars. We talked about Ty J. Spears last week out of Tulane. He's a running back that Jacksonville is interested in, depending on where you go. I've seen him ranked anywhere, from 6 to 12. So with running backs and the lack of, I guess the word I'm looking for is respect, right? They just, whether it's the free agency market or the NFL draft, so many other positions come into play before running back. That was talked about again from a few other sources that there's interest there. The other is Dwayne McBride out of UAB, and he's going to, be one of Jacksonville's top 30 visits where they're going to bring him in, show him the facility, get him on the chalkboard, and go over some scenarios that involve this football team and get a feel for him. The bad news is he's supposed to have his pro day on Wednesday. He's not going to be able to run because of a hamstring. So instead, he's going to push back his pro day, and that will actually take place sometime in mid-April. It's a gamble because you're talking about UAB. We're not talking about Alabama here. We're not talking about Auburn. And when you're a guy like Dwayne McBride and you say to all 32 teams, okay, I'm going to have my pro day on this particular day. All of a sudden, they're going to change their arrangements if there's other pro days, if there's other things going on. I don't know the answer to that question because this is not a classic college football blue blood. So if they already had this scheduled for Wednesday, will they still take that same interest coming up in a month and some change? I don't have an answer for you as far as that question. But it appears more and more that whole running back situation is going to be something that is addressed by this organization. I hope the latter. In any case, I don't want to use an early draft pick on a running back, and I'm going to say that. You invested a 5th rounder last year on Snoop Connor, right? He needs to be productive. He needs to get better. I thought he had a very good offseason. He really struggled in preseason games. The guy had close to 60 carries and averaged just over 2 yards per. It was not a good run. And again, they invested money in JaMychal Hasty, but as we've said now time and again, and let me give this to you one more time before I bounce out of here, they can get out of this with very little as far as dead cap money. He's got a salary cap figure of $1,330,000. If you were to cut him pre-June 1st, you'd have to eat $300,000 worth of dead cap money. Let's see how that changes for him after June 1st. I want to say it goes to less than $100,000. It's all right. It's half that, $150,000. So he could be cut during training camp. Yeah, he could be cut he could be a final cut. And it's only going to cost the team $150,000, and you get to recoup $1,180,000. So he's going to have to make the team. So they're going to add another back. I don't think there's any question about it, but I'm not a big fan of using, a day one, or certainly not a day one, but a day 2 draft pick on the running back position. Not me. Thank you to Patriot Roofing Services. Again, they specialize in all types of commercial and residential roofing and repairs, gutters, sun tubes, skylights, 10-year workmanship warranty where financing is available, discounts for military and senior citizens, no subcontractors. Okay, everything you see, everything you get is straight there from Patriot Roofing Services. Mention you heard it here at the time of the estimate. You're going to receive $500 off any new re-roof. Give Mark a phone call today, 982-4052. That's 982-4052. Patriot Roofing Services, licensed and insured. Coming up next, Chad Forbes. Let's stay with the NFL draft. We'll get the very latest from Chad Forbes as he goes into the night with Rick Ballou.
Your home for Florida Gators baseball is 1010XL.
It's Florida State. The Gators go to Tallahassee tomorrow night at 7 on 1010 AM.
Attention car buyers, you in the market for a new vehicle? Are you noticing the markup on vehicles on dealers' lots? Well, not the case at Key Buick GMC. We never have markups on our vehicles. Come in today and ask for Derek or Steve. As always, the lifetime powertrain warranty in effect whenever you purchase a brand new vehicle from Key Buick GMC. We are professional grade on the corner of Southside and Gate, or visit our website, keybuickgmc.com.
Did you know that all graduates of Local 234's apprenticeship program are licensed journeymen? That means all plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and HVAC techs will have hundreds of hours of experience and have passed the Jacksonville City Licensed Journeyman exam. They're the best trained and safest skilled tradespeople in the industry. Don't leave yourself exposed to inadequate workmanship or even danger. Always hire a licensed journeyman. Local 234. Make the right connection. Equal opportunity employer.
Ballou here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Denny Thompson here. If you want to work with new tech security cameras or home automation, Tyson Sound & Security is looking for you now. You'll start right off with competitive pay, and you can qualify for a $500 signing bonus. If you have experience wiring homes, try working for Tyson Sound & Security. Apply online at TysonSoundandSecurity.com or call to apply 762-1000. Now hiring installers, Tyson Sound & Security. Call to apply 762-1000.
Equal opportunity employer.
No one knows when they're going to be a victim of an accident. It's life-changing. Your rights to justice are under attack in Tallahassee by big insurance companies. They are trying to shut the doors on victims' rights to recover compensation in their darkest hours. It's not fair, and it's not justice. I'm Glenn Levine with Anajar & Levine, and I'm asking you to tell your lawmakers to oppose House Bill 837 and Senate Bill 236. Keep Florida free and take back control of your life.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On March 20th, 1973, Pittsburgh Pirates right fielder Roberto Clemente elected to the baseball's Hall of Fame 11 weeks after his death in a plane crash.
Concrete floors don't have to be ugly and hard to clean. Whether it's a garage with cracks, tire marks, and failed epoxy, or any concrete surface that isn't beautiful and maintenance-free, Shark Coatings will transform it. Our coating and warranty are stronger, more durable, and longer lasting than any other on the market. And because Shark Coatings is 100% UV stable for life, it's perfect for any concrete surface outside as well. Shark Coatings will let you reclaim those wasted hours spent pressure washing your driveway, patios, and walkways. Hit us up on social media or call 904-519-5055 to set up your free estimate today.
Hey sports fans, this is Hayes Carlion from MyBookie. March Madness has officially begun. It's time for you to shoot your shot and score big on the nonstop action with MyBookie. Whether you're filling out multiple brackets, betting on the eventual national championship winner, or simply looking for player and game props, MyBookie has you covered. Getting started with MyBookie is simple. Visit the website online, make your first deposit, use promo code 1010XL to claim an exclusive deposit bonus. You don't want to miss out on this. This is one of the most exciting sporting events of the year. You've got to have some action on this thing. Again, promo code 1010XL to claim some extra money on top of your initial deposit. With hundreds of thousands in prizes for March Madness and weekly blackjack tournaments, you can turn your game day into a payday with MyBookie. And they have everything. Bet on the Jags, whatever you want. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
The game of golf has never been more popular, and Hidden Hills Golf Club wants to help you make golf your thing and love the game as much as we do. Golf instruction is available, and Hidden Hills boasts a warm and welcoming atmosphere. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com.
Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars. Make them your AC partner with honest cost estimates before they start the work with no hidden fees. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC.
When you have an orthopedic injury and need a specialist, I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like a pro. If you're in need of orthopedic care, call us today. We genuinely appreciate our patients and look forward to helping you. Online at se-ortho.com.
Where everyone is treated like a pro.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Now, another interview on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the Accident Attorneys at Farah and Farah. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, with you tonight till 8 o'clock. So much going on. Let's dive into this situation here with Arden Key at the top of the hour. Plus some other nuggets that I have found that I think you'll find interesting, including UFC this past Saturday night. Also, right here in town, how about Paul Tesori? After 12 years looping, that's another thing from Caddyshack, looper. Remember that? But Paul Tesori lives in St. Augustine. He's got his foundation here. Spent the last 12 years with Webb Simpson on his bag. That has come to an end. He will now take over for Cam Young. But pretty interesting. 12 years. You don't see that relationship between a caddy and a player on the PGA Tour. All right, let's bring in Chad Forbes, NFL Draft Bites, the very latest as we draw even closer to the NFL Draft. He joins Rick Ballou. Chad, how you been?
Duval. Let's get this team to the Super Bowl. What do you say?
Yeah. Are they making the right moves, in your opinion? I mean, most notably, letting Taylor go, letting Arden Key go, and re-signing Evan Ingram.
I probably would have franchised Jawan Taylor, but ultimately, he got a lot of money. So they've got Walker Little. He looked pretty good down the stretch there. So, they're at the point where they've actually got a lot of good players and salary cap is tight. So bringing back Ingram makes sense.
As far as my look at the draft, I think offensive line needs to be addressed immediately because I could see Cam Robinson being let go in a year. Certainly you have wild cards and Walker Little as well as Ben Barch. But others will say, well, wait a minute, defensive line, you need another corner. What do you believe is position-wise the way Jacksonville should go here at number 24?
They've got 3 premium picks with 24, 56, and 88, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they got to determine what guard or tackle gets to 56, and the answer is nothing. Right? Those guys get gobbled up quickly. When you're picking in the 20s, when you're a playoff team, the tackles don't fall there. The terrible teams end up picking the tackles. So the guy that I love for them at 24 is the Florida guard Osiris Torrance. It reminds me of Mike Iupati, who the general manager picked when he was in San Francisco. You put him in at left guard, and sure, yeah, you're right. Cam Robinson might be gone in a year, but I just think he's a rock-solid player, and I'd really love that pick.
Well, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I want 2 of my top 3 picks to be offensive line. You just said a moment ago you don't see tackles and guards falling that far. Therefore, Chad, do you not believe they can get a good right tackle at number 56?
I don't. It's a class where the guys you're looking at in round 2 really lack strength. They're a little bit of developmental guys like a Jalen Duncan or a Wayne Morris or Blake Freeland. And the Jaguars now, they're a win-now team. They don't have time to develop a guy. So I think you got to roll with Walker Little and Cam Robinson in 2023. And I'd really love to see them get Torrance there and then try to figure out corner in the second round.
Okay. Give us some corners. Obviously, it's a pretty deep draft, I'm told, at cornerback. Correct me if I'm wrong, but who do you see that they could make a run at there in either the second or third round?
So if they go first round, it's probably Deontay Banks from Maryland. Second round, they might have to trade up for him, but Keely Ringo from Georgia's the perfect fit. And then if they're waiting until the third round, it's probably Tyree Stevenson from Miami or Julius Brents from Kansas State. And so I think if you look at it kind of horizontally and say we get Torrance in the first round, we get Ringo in the second round, maybe we got to trade up for him. Then in the third round, you're kind of playing with house money because you filled your 2 needs.
We've seen the major trade between Carolina and Chicago, and, every day there's Lamar Jackson, there's Aaron Rodgers, there's DeAndre Hopkins, I guess Brandon Cooks moved today, but so many others who could be in fact involved with trades. Do you think all of this stuff happens before the draft, or do we actually witness it on draft day?
The teams that want to acquire the players prefer to obviously wait till after the draft, right? See if you can fill the need with a guy who's cost controlled for 4 years. So there will be a few trades before the draft. I think Hopkins gets done. I see Cleveland being in that market. If the Jaguars do make a trade, I think they'd love to package Chase for a better edge rusher upgrade. If the Vikings were thinking about moving perhaps one of their edge guys like Darius Smith or Daniel Hunter.
Interesting. Chad Forbes, our guest, joins us here on the home of the Jaguars. Of course, you can get him on Twitter, Chad Forbes, NFL Draft Bites. Just overall, the fact that, minor transactions, bringing back C.J. Beathard, Adam Gotsis, Trey Herndon, it seems like around here that they're trying to keep as many players who have seen this turnaround in 1 year, still have them on this roster. Is this the right move, or do you believe they could have gotten better at some of these positions?
It's hard to get better in free agency if you're not willing to spend the big bucks. And right now they're kind of prioritizing the Josh Allen extension and thinking about coming down the line with Trevor Lawrence. So they're not going to be able to spend big money. I thought bringing back Roy Robertson Harris was a great move. And really, that's the decision they made. They said, we got to bring back him instead of Arden Key. That was a smart move. That defensive line, it can be really, really good. And they are making the right move. And Doug Peterson has brought a new level of kind of an adult to the building. And you also got to give the GM some credit.
There's no doubt. Trent Baalke's done a nice job, particularly with his free agents a year ago. We'll see how the draft pans out. And, a couple of years ago, still don't know if it was Urban Meyer who made the picks or if it was Trent Baalke, but that could end up being one of the best draft classes in franchise history. I was just going over some running backs who have been mentioned with Jacksonville for taking top 30 visits. A guy like Tyjae Spears out of Tulane, Dwayne McBride out of UAB, we know won't run Wednesday because of a hamstring. They used a fifth rounder a year ago on Snoop. You have JaMychal Hasty, and obviously there's Travis Etienne. I think there's too many other positions to address, and I also think, Chad, you can find running backs in the 6th or 7th round. What's your opinion there on Jacksonville in the back?
They've got 4 picks from 185 to 226, right? So once you get to that point, you've made 5 picks in other positions. Maybe you trade around, but why not take another running back to complement what you got in Etienne? And the goal should be to make sure you get to the playoffs with Etienne fresh. And so if you could find like a bruising back like the two you mentioned, or maybe a Chris Rodriguez from Kentucky, that would make some sense.
All right. Hey, let's wrap it up with this. Trevor Lawrence is 23. He'll be 24 in October. We know that there are top picks here for both Houston and Indianapolis as well as Tennessee. Give me who you think the 3 quarterbacks will be for those 3 teams when the season begins.
Colts quarterback Bryce Young. Somehow they get the first overall. The Colts get C.J. Stroud, and the Titans punt on quarterback, and the Texans get Will Levis, and then like Clayton Tune or a day 2 or day 3 quarterback is ultimately competing with Case Keenum and the incumbent starter there from Stanford in Houston.
All right, you said Carolina gets Bryce Young.
I think Carolina gets C.J. Stroud somehow.
Okay.
Bryce Young ends up with Indy. Will Levis with Houston. And Clayton Tune or Hendon Hooker ends up with the Titans.
Interesting. All right. Hey, Chad, always a pleasure, man. Thanks for your time, and I know we'll do it again before the draft.
That sounds great. Thanks for having me.
There he goes. Chad Forbes. NFL Draft Bites. Colts get Young. Colts all of a sudden, there was a little bit of talk about maybe Lamar Jackson. Now all of a sudden Minnesota's become kind of a wild card. Jeremy Fowler reported that. Today they had the formal introduction of Frank Reich in Carolina. I don't know why it took so long, but he, along with the general manager, asked a bunch of questions, and including what about going out and getting Lamar Jackson? They said there's no interest there, which makes total sense. I mean, you don't give up all of those picks and then turn around and add Lamar Jackson. And by the way, how could you afford him? You've already given up your future first-round draft picks. over to Chicago. So, what would Baltimore expect in return? But, every day that goes by, trying to figure out what's going to happen there with Lamar Jackson. Then, obviously, with Aaron Rodgers, I mean, this is a story that just won't end. More coming out involved both in New York and Los Angeles that Matthew Stafford, all of a sudden, could become the backup plan. And he could be on his way to New York. Les Snead, who obviously does run the Rams, the Los Angeles Rams, he's their general manager, won't use the word rebuild. He consistently says they're going through a remodel. Maybe that happens. And, my understanding right now, it's no longer about Aaron Rodgers. He has clearly said he wants to play in New Jersey. It's going to come down to the money. It's going to come down to the compensation that New York is going to have to give up in order for that to actually take place. All right, when we return, I was also really surprised when I read that article today that Les Snead in L.A. tried to do whatever they could that was best for Jalen Ramsey. Jalen only wanted to go to Miami. And there was other interest. According to the article, there were other teams that offered more than the 77th pick. But they wanted to please Jalen Ramsey. And I'm just thinking to myself, are you kidding me? I understand that Jalen, he was a part of what they got, the ultimate prize. In my opinion, it's worth it in L.A. to have gone out and won a Super Bowl, okay? We saw two organizations in something that we almost never see. Two organizations that spent to get a quarterback. Now, Brady obviously was via free agency. The Rams gave up everything to go out and get the Leonard Floyds, the Jalen Ramseys, and the Matthew Staffords. And they're paying for it dearly now. They want draft picks. So they're giving up players to get picks. And they're in that remodel. But that's not something that we have really become accustomed to in the NFL. That is a free agency signing who ends up winning Super Bowls for you. And I'm trying to think. Peyton did it in Denver. Can we think of anyone else? Was Nick Foles? I mean, Nick Foles, I guess, signed as a free agent, right, in Philadelphia. So he deserves credit for that win. But outside of Brady and outside of Stafford, can you think of anyone else that's won a Super Bowl? Drew Brees was traded. Eli Manning was traded. People forget that when the first family of the NFL just said there's just no way that my son will play in San Diego.
What about Peyton with Denver?
Yep, I said that a minute ago. Can you think of anything else as far as?
No.
I mean, Jim Plunkett was traded from New England to Oakland. So anyway, what I'm getting at is that it's very rare.
If you're a great quarterback, you're not allowed to leave.
Yeah.
Unless you're Brady or Rodgers' age and they just get tired of you and you get tired of them.
So when you look at all of the transactions that once again have happened this year at quarterback, and off the top of my head, when you look at this as far as quarterbacks that have gone from one team to another, I actually had a list written down here, but I don't know what I ended up doing with it. It would have helped me out a little bit. Maybe I'll save this for the other side, as we'll spend some time on this and everything else that is happening today in the world of the National Football League. But I want to say there's maybe 7 or 8 starters who actually are changing, addresses this year throughout free agency. And honestly, I don't think any of them are really in a category where, I am willing to say I think they're going to end up winning a Super Bowl because of it. Just my opinion. We'll see if, in fact, that is the case, or maybe for a third time in the last 4 years, we actually have a free agent who has gone on and won. All right, here it is. Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. I mean, Gardner Minshew to the Colts. Case Keenum to the Texans. Jimmy Garoppolo to the Raiders. Jacoby Brissett to the Commanders. Jordan Love's going to take over in Green Bay. Andy Dalton to Carolina. Derek Carr to New Orleans. Baker Mayfield introduced today in Tampa. Sam Darnold to San Francisco. Does any one of those, outside of Aaron Rodgers, I mean, even with the great Aaron Rodgers, I don't think that's a Super Bowl team. Are you kidding me? In the AFC?
I think they're contenders now. I think if he gets back to, Rodgers of back-to-back MVPs, how could they not be contenders in the AFC? But, I mean, it's so stacked. You can be a quote-unquote contender in the AFC and still lose in the division round.
Outside of Jalen Hurts, give me another great quarterback in the NFC.
Great. I wouldn't even say Jalen Hurts is great. None.
Why isn't Tom Brady going to San Francisco?
Or staying, yeah.
San Francisco's defense is one of the best defenses in the NFL. Look at the quarterbacks in the NFC. And Aaron Rodgers is coming over to the AFC, where you're just loaded. I mean, you got Trevor, you got Mahomes. You just go from one quarterback to another. Herbert Burrow, Tua, they picked up the fifth-year option.
Josh Allen.
If he can stay healthy. Josh Allen, I mean, through the first, 6 or 7 games, he was clearly the MVP. In Cleveland, they believe that the light's finally going to go back on for Deshaun Watson. I don't know.
You forget about him.
Yeah.
And how amazing he was a couple years ago.
Right. Will the light go on with Sean Payton for Russell Wilson in Denver? I don't know.
Lamar's still in the AFC.
But look at all the great quarterbacks in the AFC. By the way, none in the AFC South, not named Trevor Lawrence. But in the NFC, it's like, what's happened here? It's like they're renting players. It's a lot of Band-Aids in the NFC. And, hey, this year's draft class, I got to believe outside of Carolina, where are those top quarterbacks going to go? I think Stroud and Young. Stroud could go to Carolina. Young could go to Carolina, but the other will end up going to probably Houston, if not Indianapolis. I know Anthony Richardson is there and Will Levis is there, but it's just baffling to see what's happening right now with quarterback play. All right, let's continue on. Hour number 2, 641-1010 to get us on the text line, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. And we'll grab some of your texts this hour. Also getting a ton in on your favorite all-time comedy. The only reason why I asked you for that is I'm wearing a Bushwood shirt today for one of the great comedies of all time. My favorite all-time comedy. It's called Caddyshack.
I'm Brad Meester.
I'm Sean McDonough.
On 1010XL. 1010XL. 92.5 FM.
Garber Auto Mall has started Truck Wars 2023. Garber Chevy GMC is turning up the heat. Save thousands only at Garber. Shop the largest inventory in stock. Buy any new Chevy or GMC truck and get our lifetime warranty and save. Shop us online at GarberAutomall.com today and win Truck Wars with an all-American icon, Chevy or GMC truck. Inventories are going fast, so hurry down.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
People ask me sometimes, is it really cooler with Bueller? You see, here at Bueller, we really believe in creating an awesome work environment, and we treat our employees like gold. In return, we ask them to treat our customers that same way. It's our simple recipe for outstanding customer service. I'm Jason Bueller. If you want to experience the Stay Cooler with Bueller level of service, give us a call today or visit BuellerAir.com.
Bueller Air. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hi, Kevin here with Armor Guard Exteriors and Gutter Helmet. It's time to start your springtime projects. Don't wait. Our suppliers are ready to deliver gutters, gutter protection, retractable screens and awnings, window replacements, and glass on ice. So let's get started on your home improvement projects now and receive 18 months, 0 interest, and no money down. Call 904-906-8669.
Does your home or building need painting? For over 20 years, Performance Painting has had the privilege of preserving many of Jacksonville's most prominent buildings. That said, we feel like we're just getting started. I'm Jason Parker, and our team thrives on preparing, protecting, and preserving the homes, businesses, and public buildings that make up our local landscape. Contact us today to put our years of experience to work for you. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
I was on the go, it was time to eat. I said, baby, grab a Danny, cause there can't be beef. She got something else when it was time to choose. And after just one bite, I got that soggy sandwich blue. Should've known better, only Danny will do. Got that hometown flavor creeping up on you, yeah.
Malfunctions in your electrical panel can lead to hazards like fire or power outages, leaving your home at risk. So leave it to the pros and Mr. Sparky.
888-8-Sparky. Your on-time electrician, Mr. Sparky of the First Coast.
If you're often tired, have trouble exercising, or your heartbeat feels irregular, you might have atrial fibrillation, or AFib. Left untreated, AFib can put a strain on your heart and increase your risk of a stroke. But the new Heart Rhythm Center at Baptist Health can help. With the latest treatment options for heart disorders like AFib, our team of specialists can get you feeling stronger again. Learn more at baptistjacks.com/AFib or call 904-202-2342.
Hun, the drain really smells.
Yeah, wow, it does.
I think it's getting backed up. What should we do? Did you just quack like a duck?
Yes, I did. Duck Rooter, your plumbing pros in Northeast Florida. Need help with a plumbing issue at your home or business? Just call the Duck.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Let's go into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Waiting for the break of day.
I spoke with Jacksonville's good friend, Derek Trucks, over the weekend after they played at the Chicago Theater on Friday night and Saturday night. But the great town of Chicago, the unmistakable city, the second city, the windy city, they also are one of the few bands named after a city, right? And I want to say the only band named after a city that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Am I wrong? Boston.
I'll check on Boston.
Is not in. Kansas, the last time I checked, is named after a state. But what do you have for us, JJ?
We have a pair of tickets to Brass Transit, which is the name of a cover band, Music Legacy of Chicago, at the Thrasher Home Center in Orange Park. That is this Thursday, March 23rd.
That should be a lot of fun.
I've actually never heard of that place, but I Googled it, and it looks nice.
I want to say that Chicago, before they became Chicago, was like the Chicago Transit or something like that. All right, what are we going to do? We're going to take we have a question?
It's up to you. Yeah, Chicago Transit Authority was their name.
Chicago Transit Authority. I tell you what, we'll take caller number one. If you can just give me a brief explanation as to how they came up for the title of this song, you will win the ticket. 641-1010. Come on, music historians. I used to love to talk to Beef about Chicago because he's from Chicago, and he's like, for crying out loud, they didn't even have an electric guitar. I'm like, isn't this an electric guitar? All right, we'll take the first caller. Of course, Terry Cathell, by the way, is still one of the great mysteries. You know, kind of like Brian Jones. Was Brian Jones one of the original founders of the Rolling Stones? Was he murdered? Did he drown? We all know about the Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin and Jim Morrison conspiracies, but Terry Cath, did he mistakenly shoot himself? Or did he take his life? We don't know the answer to that question. Let's pull him up. And you're going to get some tickets if you can tell me just a brief history as to how the title of that song came into play. Who's this? Hello?
This is Dan.
Dan, what do you got for us?
I'm answering the question about the Chicago Transit Authority.
Yep.
That's the transportation that runs through Chicago.
Got it.
That's how Chicago.
Thank you very much. Not looking for that. Looking for how they came up with the title.
That is a correct answer.
It is the correct answer. Question. Right. Next up, who's this, please? Hello? Next up? Well, that's not good either.
They're getting scared. They're calling and then realizing they have to. Here we go.
All right. Who is next up? Hello. Welcome.
Brad.
Brad, what do you got?
They were, I think, performing, and they were rehearsing, and it was like 4 o'clock in the morning,
mm-hmm.
and they were trying to figure out what time it was or something like that.
It's good enough.
25 or 6 to 4 o'clock?
You got it. It was at 4 a.m. The story I got is, years ago I heard it, is one of the original members had created some lyrics in his head, and it was at either 25 or 26 minutes to 4 a.m., so the title of the song became 25 or 6 to 4. Brad, you want to go see the show?
Will do, yes. Good tune, yes, sir.
Absolutely. Congratulations, hang on the line, and you get to talk with J.J. LaSelva. So there you go. Good. Yeah, I love the show, too. Appreciate that. Even when we kind of, have struggles, and we also learned about the Chicago transmission. Would they say it was, J.J.? The Chicago
Transit Authority.
The Chicago Transit Authority. There you go. I love taking the train in Chicago. When I lived in the burbs, I worked out of Northbrook, but when I rented an apartment with my ex-wife, we lived in the Buffalo Grove Wheeling area, which, for those of you who do not know, that's where Tommy McManus played high school. He's from there, Buffalo Grove. Really neat section that's not too far out of the city, and it's pretty hard to describe to you because it was very active. There was a lot of movement there. It was anything outside of what I would consider, a bedroom community. It was lively. And I loved it there. It was really close to where I worked in Northbrook. But we would take the train into Chicago. It was great. And then when I finally became a homeowner, I lived out towards Gurnee where there's Six Flags. And again, it wasn't too far away from the Wisconsin border. It was like 10 miles away in a tiny little town called Round Lake Beach, which I always laughed at. Like, yeah, there's a beach in the burbs of Chicago where it's 20 degrees every day. But taking the train in there was always a lot of fun. And, we started having babies and everything, and we'd go in and whenever buddies would come in, we'd go in as well and see Cubs games and all that stuff. But there was this old broken down dive bar that I would see with the train as we were heading in, that's the famous train station from The Untouchables, with those stairs that are pretty iconic, and that's Chicago for you. That's the city, a great mob presence with the Capone and his outfit, and certainly that continued on with Cicero, which is right next to it, which is a pretty interesting town. But it was this old rundown bar, and it was called The Levee. And I wanted to go visit because it always reminded me of the, Led Zeppelin song, When the Levee Breaks. And actually, Led Zeppelin covered that song. They didn't write it. Okay, they covered it, but
like many of their songs,
never had a chance to visit the Levee in Chicago. You know what else they do in Chicago? They used to have a lot of meat raffles.
What's that?
They would have, it would be a way for people to get into bars. They would literally just give away stockpiles of meat. Okay?
Well, what did that have to do with the bar?
I don't know, but they'd have meat raffles.
Like a bar would give away meat, so people would come to their bar.
People would come to the bar and drink up. We're gonna pass out there. We're gonna have a meat raffle. Right? Coming up next, we just
hell yeah.
We just slaughtered this cow out back. We've been feeding it raw grass for the last 13 months. We just sliced them up for you. Let's begin the raffle right now. And it was hilarious to be in these little shindigs where they were having meat raffles. Okay?
Meanwhile, at bars we go to, they have trivia night.
Yeah.
Pathetic. Give me a nice ham to go home with.
Oh my goodness, man. These people are going crazy over it. I'm like, frozen meat. And then I think they outlawed it because I remember I tried to bring someone.
The FDA, of course.
I tried to bring someone on air when I was in Chicago about it. And, when we used to do a lot of that stuff, if you don't call in like our last winter Brad did, you have to ask permission before you put someone on air. This is back in the days where, everyone who does what I do, took a ton of calls. But I call someone, some bartender, I'm like, yeah, can I put you on the air? Yeah, sure. Tell me about your meat raffle. And it would be just absolutely hilarious. She's like, well, we got Polish sausage, we got Italian sausage, we got kielbasa, and I don't want to say this on air, but it actually comes from Wisconsin. And, we've got cow meat, we've got beef, we've got, and they would literally.
So at 15 at top of every hour.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Raffling off some
And they'd be
sausage.
raffling off live frozen meat. And I've never seen anything like it. I couldn't believe how popular it was.
Yeah, someone says, never heard of a meat raffle until I moved to Minnesota. It's a thing.
Hey,
so maybe
Joey.
it's very Midwest.
Hey, Joey, where'd you pick up your lady? Wow, there was this meat raffle. They were giving out live meat.
We both thought we won the ham.
Right, so I was like, hey, why don't I bring the meat, I'll bring the booze, and you cook it.
I like how
and
you
then
played
we
that.
just had a love affair from there on in. All right, get me out of this, please. 3, 2, 1.
1010XL in your house.
You can't keep me cooped up in here, okay?
On Alexa connected devices, say, Alexa, open 1010XL Jacksonville skill.
Honda has done it again with their all-new exciting SUV and truck lineup for 2023. HR-V, Pilot, Passport, Ridgeline trucks, and our popular CR-V hybrid. This is without a doubt Honda's most impressive lineup. Visit your local Honda dealer today. We're dealing.
The winter blues are almost behind us, and we can't wait to get out of the house and be more active. That sounds great, but your achy joints don't agree. Well, time to do something about that. Leon Searcy here. Stop with the steroids. Stop with the possible surgery chatter. Now there's a better way to get lasting relief. It's QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. This exciting approach uses healing properties from your own body, highly concentrated, and then places them directly in your aching joints. It can restore and repair that damaged tissue and get you moving again without pain. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, hip pain. The patient satisfaction report is incredible. And there's no downtime. Listen, the old way of dealing with joint pain are no longer the only ways. If they're telling you that you need surgery, do yourself a favor and call QC Kinetics. Learn more about the wildly popular, all-natural alternative way to get lasting pain relief. No surgery, no drugs. The call is free. The consultation is free. You have nothing to lose. Call QC Kinetics now, 904-274-5522. Locations in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra.
Jacksonville has some junk, and J-Dog is removing it. They're here to do the dirty work. You don't want to remove and dispose of large furniture or appliances yourself? Call J-Dog. Here now, proudly serving you, removing junk from your home or business. They can even handle small demolition projects, and they're still donating local items to veterans in need. So let J-Dog do the dirty work for you. J-Dog Junk Removal. Veteran-owned and operated. JDog.com.
There's a new butcher in town. We're talking a vacuum marinating, sausage grinding, take and bake siding, value pricing, full service butcher. And our name is Southern Steer.
Now open in Ortega. For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
When you look for that hard-to-find part for your car or truck, Rusty Acres is your source for used Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury auto parts. You'll get the parts you need and advice on how to install them. Rusty Acres, 786-1777.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On March 20th, 1973, Pittsburgh Pirates right fielder Roberto Clemente elected to the baseball's Hall of Fame 11 weeks after his death in a plane crash.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. What's better than beer? Cold beer. Put your company logo on a custom koozie. Check them out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. There's comfort in having real-time financial solutions you can trust. When it comes to your money, count on First Florida Credit Union. When value counts, rely on First Florida for rates and rewards that give you the freedom to enjoy more of what you want. When service counts, depend on First Florida for the conveniences you expect and the personal connection you deserve. First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins. Fighting for your rights since 1975.
If you're heading to the Og or you're already part of the nation's oldest, don't forget to drop into Sunset Grill. For over 30 years, serving up great chowder, seafood, wings, and cold beer. Sunset Grill, somewhere on A1A, St. Augustine Beach.
It's a unique gift idea and a popular way to add fun and personality to any wedding environment. Mystic Cornhole Company builds custom, high-quality boards right here in Jax. Visit the shop on Phillips Highway or check out their designs at mysticcornhole.com.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Mom. Looking for a great way for your kids to enjoy sports? Check out I-9 Sports, the way youth sports should be, offering flag football, basketball, soccer, and t-ball in Duval, St. Johns, and Clay County. You can play year-round, fall, winter, spring, and summer seasons with co-ed programs ages 3 to 17. Enter promo code 1010XL to receive $5 off registration. All the details are at i9sports.com.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey. Obviously, the summer temperatures are already here, and if you're like me, you want that oppressive Florida heat to stay outside the house. That's why I'm such a fan of Hello Windows and Doors. By now, we know that windows are the #1 way that heat gets in and the cold gets out. So when you're ready for the stylish design and energy efficiency that comes from Hello Windows and Doors, we invite you to visit their showroom on Phillips Highway next to Tesla or find them online at hellajax.com.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, we need tonight till 8 o'clock. Hacker on vacation. He will be back on Wednesday. Great selection of comedies. Again, I didn't plan on going that way, but I'm wearing a Bushwood t-shirt tonight. I think Caddyshack is the greatest comedy of all time. I'm getting so many that are in, and I'm happy to say that I came down with 10 off the top of my head, and they're all on this list are all on our text line. 641-1010, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. Caddyshack, Animal House, Airplane, Slapshot, Vacation, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Fletch, Dumb and Dumber, Anchorman, Blazing Saddles, which you wouldn't even be able to make that movie anymore. You talk about being completely and totally politically incorrect. Also a big fan of Something About Mary. Okay? Ferris Bueller's Day Off was pretty good. So that's what, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I gave you 12. But getting a ton in here. Did I miss any obvious ones? Comedies.
My two favorites of all time are Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Okay. Outstanding.
Which has to be on the list to me. And one that I know why it's not on the list, because it's like really raunchy, and it's not exactly a movie you'd see on cable all the time, but for the ones who love it, they really love it, including me. Big Lebowski.
Oh, yeah.
Just so phenomenal. Hilarious one-liners in that movie. The acting. I love that movie. I would say that actually might be my favorite comedy. A newer one that is not going to be on any list because it's so corny and silly, but I love Zoolander, the one with Ben Stiller, and he's a male model. A classic to me. We were going through all the Will Ferrell has like 5 that are just classics. Anchorman will be up there to me. Old School, my favorite Will Ferrell movie.
Old School, really good. I can't believe I left Chris Farley out. You got to put Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy.
You know what else is really funny is, speaking of Chicago, we saw him out at a place called Melvin B's one night. My brother and I was after a Red Sox-White Sox.
Don't say Bill
game.
Murray.
No, I'm not a huge Bill Murray guy. You know, Ghostbusters was okay. And obviously I love him in Caddyshack. But what's Vince Vaughn?
Oh, dude.
Vince Vaughn.
So funny. So underrated, man. As an actor, just
Bro,
in general.
When we were at this is a beer garden right in the Viagra Triangle. That's what they call it in Chicago. It's Russian Division. It's where all the bars are. Okay. It's downtown. But they call it that for the obvious reason. You see a lot of wealthy, older men.
I get it.
With younger chicks. Vince Vaughn walked in that day with the kid who licks the frozen pole in the Christmas Story.
The actual guy.
Yeah. I don't even know his name. I don't know what he's done outside of that movie. Vince Vaughn, bro, this guy looked like he just rolled out of bed. I mean, he didn't touch a comb to his hair. He had a ratty, wrinkled white T-shirt and some jeans that were just hanging off his body. Yet every chick in the place.
I was about to say, bet he looked cool as hell.
Oh, my God. They were coming at him.
And he's super tall.
Yeah, he is. Coming at him from each and every direction.
Now, Swingers is a comedy. Definitely not like laugh out loud at every scene type of comedy, but one of my favorites.
I like that movie. I like him in The Breakup, but that actually gets pretty
sad.
It does.
It ends sad.
Well, their fight when they break up is like vicious.
Yeah. There is funny scenes, of course, in it, but it's more of a rom-com. Yep. One of the few rom-coms that I can stand. And then, at the end, they just like see each other in the street and that's over. It's like, damn. It's like the saddest rom-com ending ever.
Anyway, there's so many. I've always said this, and you may disagree with me as we're going to shift our attention back to sports. But one of the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of comedy any longer, they never know how to end a comedy.
That's a good point.
Okay, every other movie that we see, now, I mean, listen, the last Sopranos episode pissed off America, but for the most part, a movie ends. And comedies, they don't know how to end movies. And, even Caddyshack, I mean, they blow up the golf course. The very end of Animal House, they have that parade that just totally breaks. Ending the end of Ghostbusters or Stripes. Stripes is another pretty good one.
I'll give you a good one. Good ending. Ferris Bueller Day Off. Everything comes together. He gets home. There's that race. He's racing his parents as they drive back. There's the principal gets caught by the daughter. That one's a good ending. But I understand exactly what you're saying. It's kind of just like, hey, we wrote all these jokes.
Yeah.
We have to stuff a story in here somewhere.
Yeah, it's my girlfriend all the time's like, she's comedy and rom-com where, I'm a little bit
more serious.
Right. I like something that's dark. I like something that's evil. I like something that is underground. But anyway, I mean, it's just a difference in opinion. I like things that are unpredictable.
What about how they end Monty Python and the Holy Grail? Do you remember that?
No, I actually don't remember it.
Okay, so it ends up being a documentary that they're making. And it's like actually in modern times. And the cops come and arrest everybody because they've been fighting and killing each other. So it's just like, hey, this isn't even back in Knights times. This is like in the 80s, and we're going to arrest these people.
Arden Key shook up the AFC South today, including right here in Duval. If you have not heard what he said as he was being introduced in Tennessee, here it comes.
I felt disrespected because I came over there, built up the culture, brought a whole lot of energy, changed the city, changed the town, and I felt like I was in my rightful mind. I was going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar, but that didn't happen. I still love the players, love the teammates, love the city, love the fans, but yeah, we got to see them twice.
Arden Key on Duval, and I totally agree with that statement. I'd like to personally thank Arden for, once again, getting me a contract extension here at 1010XL. I also want to point out that he is responsible for the fact that I have shaved about 3 indoor 4 strokes off my golf game. There was a time, truly, where my cholesterol was actually higher than my SAT scores. They're down significantly. My cholesterol, that is. I'd like to thank Arden Key. Is there anything that you'd like to thank Arden Key for?
For getting rid of COVID. And I appreciate that. Seems to not be around as much, and I know we only have one man to thank for that.
Arden Key. All right. Do us a bit, if you would, listeners. Tell us how Arden Key fixed you and changed your culture or your overall whatever it may be right here in the great city of Jacksonville, Florida. I will add this. He is a true dog. I miss him. I wanted him back. I'm not going to retract on those statements. I understand he was a role player that had 4.5 sacks. But give me 53 Arden Keys, and you're going to have a successful football team, because there's a guy right there who will fight for his team. And I'll never forget the comments he made a year ago about Tennessee when they dug down deep and finally snapped that 8-game losing streak out there. And Arden Key used the word hate. I love that in anyone who becomes on your team, your business, no matter what it is, who regardless of these circumstances is going to do everything to fight for that. And that's what Arden Key gave you. I know today a lot of people are dismissing this. A lot of people are upset. A lot of people saying that they are that he, in fact, was and will continue to be a role player, even though he's making starter money and is probably going to get a tremendous opportunity because of the lack of pass rushers right now in Tennessee. So let's have a little bit of fun with that. If you'd like to jump on in, 641-1010 on our text line, or if you're serious about it, give us your thoughts as well. Same number. 641-1010 on the text line. That is brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures.
Drink a beer, sing a song, make a friend. Can't we all get along?
Drink a beer, sing a song, can't we all get along?
This is great!
Exactly.
1010XL.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
It's that time of year and pests are wreaking havoc on your home or business. Call Southern Fumigation for a free inspection. 259-9811. Call a local company that's family owned. Southern Fumigation, 259-9811. It's a slam dunk.
This is Garrett Scanley, and when I needed surgery on my foot, I selected Dr. Acevedo and Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. No matter what orthopedic injury you have, go where you're treated like a pro. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
This is Dr. George Acevedo, Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Thanks to all of the athletes who ask us to help them get back on their feet. Come see us today.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
This Friday, Navy Mutual would like to salute all Medal of Honor recipients that have been awarded our nation's highest award. In 1990, Congress designated March 25th as National Medal of Honor Day, and it was signed into law by President George H.W. Bush.
Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org.
There's a world of difference between and that's why you can trust Famous Automotive and Tire when it comes to your vehicle's care. Because there's a difference between and. It all starts with the triangle of safety. Your tires, brakes, and the front end. Take care of those 3 points and your car will take good care of you. Start at Famous Automotive and Tires. 7 locations servicing every customer like they're famous.
Give us your hot take.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
On the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm awake and I speak English, so yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Be part of the conversation. 641-1010.
Are you an electrician looking for better pay and benefits? Miller Electric Company has the industry-leading compensation package. Electricians are eligible for a signing bonus up to $1,000. Now, they're partnering with the Jaguars on their new performance facility, the Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric has opportunities for you to work on some of the most exciting projects right here in Jacksonville. Whether you're experienced or not, visit MillerCareers.com, an equal opportunity employer. That's MillerCareers.com.
If you've been injured in an accident, you have one shot at compensation. Make it count. Farah & Farah, protecting you and your family. Call us at 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now's the time to start your home improvement projects. Kevin here with Armor Guard Exteriors and Gutter Helmet. Our local suppliers are stocked up and ready to deliver your home improvement projects, like gutters, gutter helmet, retractable awnings, and screens, window replacements, and glass and ice. Call now and get 18 months no interest and no down payment. Call now, 904-906-8669.
I switched to Boost Mobile and got a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Want to know the best part?
It was free?
Nope.
The fact that it's on America's largest 5G networks?
Nope. It's the ding.
Oh yeah, love the ding.
Right? It's all about the ding. It's the dingarooski, the dingarone, the ring-a-ding-ding.
Unleash your power to save with Boost. Get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone when you switch. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power.
And the ding.
Limited time offer. New customers only. Available on select networks. 5G not available everywhere. One device per line. Tax excluded. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y Summer Camp, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Disturbing story about Troy Aikman over the weekend, picked up by the New York Post, and awful announcing ran with it a little bit, but apparently he's been a total red ass since he's gone to ESPN. And, he broke down live on air in his first ever game, citing that the telestrator didn't work. He did it again later in the game, reportedly at halftime. They'd already been on the phone with his former bosses at Fox on how to get him the exact telestrator that he used there. He dogs the crew off air, often yells, okay? But here's what's really interesting. He's got a private plane, Monday Night Football. He'll show up the day of the game. Isn't involved in any of the, pre-broadcast meetings, which, let me tell you, I cut my teeth as an intern at ABC Sports. I've told you this, folks, many times. Monday Night Football was Al Michaels, Dan Deerdorf, and Frank Gifford. Okay? And it was, when I did College Football Saturday, it was Keith Jackson and Bob Greasy. Let's send it down to Lynn Swann. Swanee, right? Lynn Swann, the sideline. But I saw just how tedious, how lengthy these meetings were for television broadcasts. You have no idea what goes into this. I spent 8 years as the Jaguars sideline reporter. We had meetings on Thursday, and we certainly went through it all again when we would travel or home games before our broadcast. You just don't wing it, okay? There's preparation. And there's 150 people that are involved in the Monday Night Football broadcast. Reportedly, Troy Aikman knows about 10 of them. And his complaints now have affected this entire process where the Monday Night Football producer and director are out. They're moving to college football. You got to take the college football crew now, including the producer and the director. They're now going to be a part of Monday Night Football. This is classic behind the scenes. Okay, I get it. Maybe 1 or 2% of you actually care about this, so I'm going to move on. But this is what happens when you got a high-priced guy who is difficult to get along with. He can force change to everything. I mean, the producers of Monday Night Football have been there. It had been long-standing. Monday Night Football has had an awful difficult time of trying to find the right combination as far as broadcasters, whether it's play-by-play or, the color analyst. But now you got Fowler and Herbie and Holly Rowe, and they're set in with their producer and director. It's a great working relationship. It's over. Now they're moving to ESPN's Monday Night Football.
Don't you think it's funny that he's the one being the diva? Because it's like, dude, you're only there because Joe Buck's your homie and partner. Like, I would find it very hard to believe that ESPN was throwing all that money around for just Troy Aikman, as his color commentary is so good. Like, no, it's because you team up with one of the best in the business, Joe Buck. You're not fantastic at your job. Like, do you ever watch the game and be like, oh, Troy Aikman's really on it today?
No.
Exactly.
No.
So for anyone to be a diva, it should be Joe Buck.
My understanding is that Joe Buck is great.
I've heard the same.
That I know he comes across as a little bit of an elitist, a little bit of a, hey, I told you so, but
on the air maybe?
As far as the way he treats the people he works with, his colleagues, totally professional. And I've heard that several different places. I've also seen some things with Joe Buck, like, you ever heard him interviewed with Howard Stern when he gets a little sideways? I mean, you don't look at him and think of him that way, but
yeah, I've heard him on a couple Barstool podcasts. He lets his hair down, so to say.
People don't like Joe Buck because they know he got his start from his dad, but you don't become the number one voice for two networks, for two sports, and for a while a third sport when Fox had golf, which we know totally flamed out. And I think a lot of that was because we are comfortable with our broadcasters. Right now, Paul Azinger's performance here last week, he got destroyed. He got absolutely lit up.
Really?
Oh, my God. I mean, everything to him was some of the words he kept using about guys that didn't really figure in, about cleaning up their mess so the leaders could come through. Everything. I forget the word that he kept using.
Like about pace of play?
I'm going to have to look back on it.
Because I agree with him.
Listen, I love Azinger because he's he's a cancer survivor, but listening to him, being honest, I think he leaves a lot to be desired following a guy like Johnny Miller. Johnny Miller upset people for the exact opposite reasons. Johnny Miller said too much. Johnny Miller spoke too much. Johnny Miller is, he's got Brandel Chambly has a lot of Johnny Miller in him. Where all these golf broadcasters only want to say the right things, the good things. Mm-hmm. Brandel Chambly will come out and say, he's not performing the way he should. He needs to be doing this. He needs to be doing that. Johnny Miller absolutely ruffled a lot of feathers with that. I miss Johnny Miller.
That's such a sport, like you said, where they really go out of their way to be really nice to the golfers. They rarely are talking about how bad a guy is playing-wise or, how terrible. It's always like, oh, he might be struggling or something. They don't use any, aggressive adjectives about players in golf. I guess that's just the sport in general, but that's what I really hate about the tour.
Gary McCord lost his gig years ago with the Masters because he said the greens were bikini waxed. The Masters says...
Can't say anything about that, yeah.
You will be removed immediately. You see the thing that's viral now this week from the LIV Tour?
No, I haven't.
They're showing the tee box. Behind the tee box, El Nino goes running by, Sergio Garcia, and he relieves himself.
Oh, my God. They got him on tape taking a whiz.
Yes.
Oh, I see him. They have the score bug up, and then they have a shrubs or a tree or something, and you can barely see him in his shorts, but it's his back. His back is to you. So, yes, I'm assuming he is taking a whiz.
This comes on the heels of Freddie Couples calling him a clown. He also called Phil Mickelson a nutbag. Okay? I mean, we got, all of a sudden, whether you like it or not, this consummate professional sport of golf, we're starting to see a little bit of friction. And obviously it all started with two guys who are completely irrelevant right now today on March 20th, 2023. I mean, when's the last time you heard anything about Brooks Koepka or Bryson DeChambeau?
Well, Bryson's fell off bad. He's finishing next to last in these LIV tournaments. His game is rough. Going back to what you just said, the names that these golf analysts will call the LIV golfers, it's yeah, that just shows what a phony you are. You never said anything about those guys until they went to a different tour. So either you're just such a shill for the PGA Tour that's why you're saying those things, or you believe that the whole time, therefore you haven't been truthful the whole time.
Yeah,
either way, you're full of it. You're
right.
A phony, and I can't stand that.
I did play some golf yesterday with some friends, and then a couple of us after at a restaurant in town, we went to watch the end of the golf and obviously the NCAA tournament. And these guys are a couple of higher-ups with Toro, and they were playing today at a great event at Pablo Creek, which, for those of you who do not know, is a slice of heaven, in my opinion. But they told us about the LIV, and I didn't know very little about the LIV, but they're like, yeah, they had both gone to an event, and it was $40, all you can eat,
Whoa.
all you can drink. Okay,
Whoa.
They're playing rock and roll music.
I knew that. That's
okay,
sort of silly. But...
Again, it's shotgun starts.
So it's 3 hours, 4 hours, you're done.
Well, think about how hard that would be for the media. Let's say the leader tees off on 5, okay? Or so he's wrapping up on 4. You want to go out and get him coming off the fourth green, yet What if the other leader's coming off the 11th green? They're all starting at the same time. It's a shotgun. They're all ending.
Here's what I have to say.
At the same time.
Screw the media. I don't give a damn about them. Like, as a viewer, it's awesome. I don't have to, this guy tees off at 7, and then another guy, tees off at 3 p.m. And so you're literally having to watch golf for, 18 hours. It's like, I understand with a bigger field, you can't do a shotgun start, but if you have a small one, I tend to like that it's over in a semi-decent amount of time.
Here's one, 35-25. Ballou, Greg Olson is better than Troy Aikman.
I can get behind that.
28-35. Ballou, Zinger disrespects Tom Watson every chance he gets. Zinger is and he drops an.
Did they have a beef, from their playing days?
I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of.
That's an odd guy to hate. Doesn't everyone love Tom Watson?
He's yeah. I mean, I was watching the Golf Channel earlier today. They had Ben Crenshaw on, maybe the nicest human being who's ever been put on this planet. Okay, I don't know if I want to get into that this late into the program. Get a lot of Arden Key stuff. 7,400 Ballou. Thank you to Arden Key for helping me get Employee of the Month. Arden Key, with his press conference statement, immediately cured my wishing that Arden Key was still a Jaguar-itis. Thank you, Dr. Key. All right. Nah, I'm not going to. Dalton Schultz effect, signing with the Texans today. The Texans are making some moves. They are. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
I don't know what it's going to lead to.
Obviously, you need a quarterback. There's no doubt about that. Hey, final moments. The NCAA tournament is going to resume, as we do know, on Thursday night. We're down to the Sweet 16. Very interesting year for the NCAA tournament. For starters, you have 11 different conferences in this year's Sweet 16. Okay, the ACC was in danger of not getting there until the Miami Hurricanes did advance. They had a decent lead. They surrendered that lead, and they came back and knocked off Indiana. But you have 11 conferences, the SEC with 3, the Big East with 3, and ACC, Big Ten, Pac-12, AAC, WCC, Mountain West, Conference USA, and the Ivy League. 9.2 viewers across CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. It's the largest audience ever recorded for the first round. 9.2 million. Very surprised by that. As we said a little bit earlier, Kansas, for a 6th consecutive year, the former national champion, doesn't even make it to next week. And, of course, the Sweet 16. Princeton is the 3rd Ivy League school to reach the Sweet 16. Cornell in 2010 and Penn back in 78, 79. Also, Gonzaga, the 8th straight Sweet 16 appearance for Gonzaga. Remember when they were a Cinderella? How often that has changed. All right, with the number 1 seeds going down, including 2 of them, this is amazing. These are the 16 teams left, and this is where they were ranked 1 through 68 before the tournament began. I think it was a 68 or was it 72? What do they do now with all those play-ins? I guess you have 2, 4, 6,
I guess it used to be 64, and now we have
70.
4 playing games, so yeah.
It'd be 70. Okay, Alabama, the number 1 seed, still around. Houston, number 2, still around. UCLA, 5. Texas, 6. Tennessee, 14. UConn.
So we go from 6 to 14. All those teams are gone.
Actually, they wrote this a little bit differently here. It says Gonzaga 10, Kansas State 11, UConn 13, Tennessee 14. After that, you have, let's see here, Miami 20, Creighton 22. I left San Diego State out at 17. Michigan State 26, Florida Atlantic 33, and Princeton at 61.
61.
In the top 16. I want a college football playoff. but you're not going to get that. Now, granted, there's many more college basketball teams than there are college football teams, but you're not going to get teams in the 30s and in the 60s find their way into, advancing throughout the world of college football. One of the reasons why we've seen more upsets, this has been a year, where a number one's gone down, second time in history. A number two's gone down to a 15 for a third consecutive year. We saw 3 go out very early in the first round. Is bias with seeding. All of a sudden, we're getting more play for this because the selection committee is going to cave in to brand names, to blue bloods. And you have smaller programs who have a little bit more consistency with players returning. Therefore, you're seeing upsets there. Also, the whole NIL. There used to be a point where only the big schools would get the best players, right? They'd stockpile. Now you can be a small school, and with a healthy NIL package, you can afford to pay and get some of these really good players. That is it. I don't check the text line because the show is over. You want to get me, please do so. Ballou 1010XL on Twitter. Hacker's off, right? Hacker's off. Hacker's on vacation.
No, Hacker's here.
Is he?
He's off Thursday and Friday.
Oh, Hacker's off Thursday and Friday. My bad. Hacker is up next, kids. My name's Rick Ballou. We'll talk tomorrow.
He's in a shotgun now.
Follow every play, interview, and press conference
When we're balanced, it's hard for the defenses to adjust.
on the home